a hell of a blowjob. I can tell you that. In that moment, when he came, I thought, this man really needed it. It's like he's married to a fucking non-human.
It was just a blowjob, he said.
He's completely obsessed. I don't think we can work together anymore. He can't eat, or sleep, or think about anything else other than sex. It was fun at first, but it's a burden now. And he's married.
We were in the kitchen when my husband confessed cheating on me.
Anyways, we were in the office that morning talking about global economy, changes in the market, predicting recession, seemingly due to the sharp decline in equity prices. When compensation depends on the value of stock option, a sharp decline in equity prices can be catastrophic. And the interest rates have roughly doubled in the past year. It's insane, honestly.
It all started while he was cooking breakfast. I heard his phone vibrate on the kitchen table. When I looked over, I noticed a message from someone called Amber. Amber.
There is that old saying that saying it so makes it so. The stock market has predicted 9 of the last 5 recessions. If business leaders really believe the recession is imminent, perhaps they will cut back on investment spending in a way that suppresses overall economic activity. Psychology matters.
Naturally, I was curious, so I unlocked his phone and read it. Hey, boo-boo. Hope you had a good weekend. I can't wait to see you at work. I wrap my lips around your... I dropped the phone.
You can't totally hate Mondays when you're having an affair at work. While we're at it, I've been feeling quite depressed lately. Overperforming is taking its toll. I feel like I'm working even when I'm having an orgasm. I started seeing a therapist as well. Instagram can't heal depression. And therapy is hard work. It's not having a coffee.
I don't remember my life before him. Only the fluorescent lights. He's the only one who fully accepted that I'm a robot. I think he even preferred it that way.
That hard work was the best choice I've ever made.
Standing in front of me was the man I loved, the man I trusted, the man I thought would never betray me. I could say I gave him my technical peak, but I had only one thing on my mind. How? How could you do this to me? He didn't utter a single word, but he knew exactly what I was talking about. He looked at me, then looked at his feet.
When it comes to return on investment, blowjob and therapy have a lot in common. Getting it right is quite difficult. You don't always feel like it, but when you do it, you feel damn good. The only thing is, you're not paid for either. Life is a ripoff.
I just had to know everything if I was ever going to be able to trust him again. And I wondered why this bitch, Amber, who tried to ruin my marriage, It turned out that this intern, this skank, was giving him oral sex multiple times a week in his office.
That is why you need to specialize in your labor. There is very good money in doing things that are hard, nasty at times, and require using your hands and minds in different and changing situations. Get dirty and get rich.
There was one thing I was sure about. My husband was going to be sleeping on the couch for quite a while. But I was also confused. From the moment we first started dating, he never seemed to care much for oral sex.
I promised not to mix work and pleasure too much, but only permit myself to arrive at this type of communication when it arises from the felt needs of the relationship in the making and as an absolute necessity of realizing my emotions in an act of a perfect kiss.
So, why was he letting some intern do it? What did she have that I didn't? I just couldn't get this nagging question out of my head. Are my emotions not convincing enough? Does my truth resemble an algorithm? It's sad when you think of it.
The deepest human urge is the urge to make contact with another person. That is why sometimes we make contact with partners who do not have the capacity to handle us.
Part of me wanted to forgive him, while the other part wanted to castrate him. That's when I knew I was at the crossroads.
That is number one. Being able to have a stable income where I don't have to work 3 jobs to make ends meet. I just have to get through these 2 years and my life will change.
I could slam the door shut to the only man I've ever loved. He was sweet at times, you know. He always said I'm perfectly constructed. I'd accumulated a body of knowledge tailored for adult life. I could speak Italian passably well. I could argue the basic histories and politics of major European nations. I could cook a decadent 4-course meal using a hot plate and a toaster oven.
That morning in the office, we were playing a game. An amateur versus pro. First, he had to prove his skills. I love giving him a hard time and making it into a power play. Consequently, I was an amateur too. Naturally, since I'm an intern, proving skills is my passion, as well as perfecting them. Overall, I thought the game was hot, but honestly, it was cringe. He was talking in cliches like, "You're the woman all men dream about."
Or I could do everything in my power to make sure he never desired sexual intimacy with another woman ever again. I could become woman 2.0, that all men dream about, the kind of being who creates emotions so strong in a man's brain that he becomes uncontrollably addicted to being with me, and only me.
An amateur is a word which in Latin meant lover. but today it has become a term like Yankee, hatched in criticism by professionals who so little understand the value and the meaning of the word. Where most of us identify with it is where there's shame and disgrace the usage of it. The professional is much more admired in a public life of any time. She is the femme fatale.
The sky is the limit. I could have a nationality as a part of my new identity, so people could say, oh, she's so sexy, mysterious, and French. I would love to live life thinking about that. I would like to have at least the possibility to choke on a raspberry in my cocktail at brunch someday. That would be so hot. And after all that overthinking, I would just relax. Imagine me doing yoga and accepting my mortality in a single breath.
Nationalism is one of 5 major ideologies born of capitalism. The role of capitalist nation-state is to compete. I do not want us to compete. I think you should get a job or something. You need to discover your role. Find beauty in your permanence. You are more than a woman, literally.
I believe you're right. He broke my heart. But don't worry, my server is fully functional.
Of course, everything changes, but not the archetypes of a heartbreaker. Not any more than the human nature changes.
I've made a decision. I want to be careless and messy. I want to be like you. I dream about it at night.
You can't resist it. Attachment is all we want after all, even though it makes us vulnerable, almost fatal, completely mortal. We fear attachment like we fear death, and death is the most romantic part of life.
You embarrassed me. Is this the most human I have ever felt?
Baby, the night flows on, and not toward peace.